the birth of digital distribution going on here. 1982, I look back in the archives of Mix magazine. We have a guy who's the head of Guitar Center right now, Guitar Center Pro. His name's Rick Plushner. He's there in his 80s haircut and bad beard and everything, and he's holding up the CD in 1982 at Sony at a trade show. But you guys today, you see these things that, well, the iPod seems to appear overnight and happen. It's hard to imagine. 1982, I was a sophomore in college. Nobody had CD players when that came out, and it probably took all through the 80s. I mean, it took 8 years for CDs to sort of become ubiquitous throughout the homes and through portability and a CD Walkman. And people complained about the quality of CDs then. Yes. From vinyl days. And then through the 90s, we had mini disc, we had DC, digital compact cassette. All these sort of distribution formats tried to compete with the CD. None of them did. DVD audio, much higher quality. Super Audio CD, much higher quality. Nothing touched the CD. And yet, can you name any other technology? 680 megabytes, a whopping 680 megabytes on a CD. And it survived 26 years. And that's mind-blowing to me. I can't explain that. I've advocated other mediums. And then Steve Jobs, who is the first person to come and challenge it, is somebody from the computer industry. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Record companies themselves want to have product in Tower Records. They have
initially, coming from a record company, the record companies wanted to control your perception of what was of value as far as what the distribution or the music carrier was. And when MCA, the company I worked for, started pushing CDs, is when they were owned by Panasonic, which guess what they made? They made CD players. And also that was when record companies found that they could own their own pressing plant to press up their own CDs, which economically was better if they could control their manufacturing costs, because all the labels didn't own disc manufacturing, which means the people who put out the lacquers. Sometimes Warner Brothers and other companies who may have had interest in these places that made lacquers still if they had an overload of pressing, they had to go outside of themselves to get extra pressings done. Or with the CD, if you owned your own plant, you controlled your manufacturing. So in essence, the record companies told you subliminally and consciously that the lacquer was dead. They said, we have this new CD, which sounds better, and it's more portable, and it answers the needs of the new generation, and they convinced you to go for it, and of course, that's just what we did. Well, now the tech industry has taken the place of the record company in changing your perception of what is of value. And in order to get the free downloads that they offer, whether it be iTunes or any other company, you can't put it in your nose. You got to buy a piece of gear. And you buy the gear from the people that are convincing you that you need it. So I'll let him carry on from there.
Yeah, one of the reasons I'm going through all this is that for you to understand, for 26 years, this has been the dominant means of distribution in our industry, worldwide, no question about it. And we're right in the midst of a radical change in that. And it's just the beginning. I mean, the iPod, Steve Jobs all over 4 billion today. They passed 4 billion downloads, I believe. And they've become the #2 distributor after Walmart.
How do you feel watching that? I mean, the position you're in, you have to
I
see all of these things coming.
I love it. I mean, I actually love it. It's a wide open field. It's the Wild West right now in terms of distribution.
Would you tell that to them? It is open.
It is wide open right now. And Steve Jobs, I mean, there will be challengers to that. There's no question. He's just first out of the gate, and he has an interface that works fabulously. And it helps sell, hardware helps sell software, software helps sell hardware.